Welcome to Getting the Most from Every Therapeutic Music Experience. My name is Mary Jane Landaker, and I'm the instructor for this course module, which is part of Composition and Creativity, offered to you by musictherapyworks.com. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that this is going to be something that is going to change or alter or deepen the way you look at what it is you do in sessions with clients. And so for the purposes of this particular presentation, therapeutic music experience, or TME, is the term that I use for things that I do with my clients within sessions. So if that is different terminology than what you use, just please just translate my TMEs into whatever it is you do. So we're here today to talk about deepening our understanding of what's happening in our music experiences and how to convey that to clients as well. So today, our general learner objective for the entire course is as follows. Participants will complete demonstration elements based on concepts of composition and creativity covered by each course module. And for this particular course, we have one additional learner objective, and that you will complete 2 brainstorming processes, which will be done through completion of the course worksheet. And these will identify multiple goals within therapeutic music experiences to support client goal domains. And here are the CBMT board certification domains that are most relevant to this particular demonstration element. So at the end of this 50-minute time frame, you are going to submit to me your worksheet, your brainstorming process, in order for me to see that you have completed the tasks as described. For this course, I recommend that you get a certain number of materials, things that you should have access to already, including a computer with internet access. This is primarily to send me your demonstration elements, but also to access the website or the worksheet that is part of this particular course module. Printer and paper is very helpful. A pen and a pencil, of course, to write down answers, to take notes, do what you need to do. And then the worksheet, which is available on the entry page for this course module on the website. Optional, you might want to have staff paper, you might want to have an accompanying instrument, you might have music composition software. And the reason I recommend that you have these is sometimes good ideas for TMEs come in when you're engaged in creative expression and you want to make sure that you can record them as you possibly can. So the overall arching purpose of this particular course module is to start us thinking deeper about what we are already doing. You know, if you're taking this course, you're already a practicing professional, so you have experience, you have done things before where you are using music as a therapeutic medium. We're not going to argue about that. What we're going to talk about is how you can get the most out of every single therapeutic music experience that you present to your clientele. And for me, what this really boils down to is how well do you know what your treatment options are? And so for this particular course, we're going to be thinking differently and deeper about what it is we're doing. One of the things that can happen to us as professionals is that we get into ruts and start to develop tunnel vision. You know, you start to think, well, I have to get this client to recognize the first 7 letters of the alphabet, so everything I have to do has to be this, and we're going to do the same 17 applications, therapeutic music experiences over and over and over again. Where with just a little bit of shift and manipulation, we can change things significantly to help the client keep interest in what it is we are doing, as well as to help us do that as well. And sometimes we need to take a creative approach to what we know already and look at things from a different perspective. And that's really the goal of this course module, is to offer that different perspective and to really start thinking about what it is you are doing with your clients in a way that you may not have thought of before, or if it is a way you've thought of before, a way just to help refresh your memory about how to do this. All the time, all the time we are interacting and engaging. We are providing goal opportunities for our clients, many, many levels. Now, my primary treatment form right now is group. I work with children and adolescents, and I have between 8 to 12 clients and between 2 to 4 support staff present in my groups. And so I'm doing primarily group treatment. Every single one of my clients that's in the group has a different personal goal that we're working towards, a personal therapeutic goal. But all of them have to be working on their goal advancement during music therapy in order for me to justify my job and my salary to my facility. And so all the time we're offering these particular goal opportunities, many, many different levels. And what we're going to talk about right now is goals specifically from the stance of what the client needs. So I'm going to separate these into 3 different categories: primary goals, secondary goals, and tertiary goals. And the reason I think of it this way is because it allows me to organize my session planning, my strategy planning, in a way that allows me to address all primary goals simultaneously. How about that? When we are thinking about goals, we're always start with considering the client. I mean, that's a given, right? You know, if you don't have clients, if they don't have goals, then why are you doing music therapy? The primary goal for client A is the reason that that client is in music therapy treatment. And so client A is sitting over here. Client A has recently had a severe accident and is in rehabilitation, and we are working primarily on lower extremity gross motor goals for client A. Wonderful. That is client A's primary goal for being in music therapy. Client B, sitting next to client A, recently had a traumatic brain injury, insult, and is having to work on cognitive recall, social interaction, a variety of different things that are not goal areas that client A is working on. Client B's primary reason for being in music therapy treatment is very different, and that's okay. But then you've got this challenge with you as the therapist, where every single therapeutic music experience that you're offering during the session should be addressing the primary goal of client A in some way, but also the primary goal of client B in some way. And that's also client C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, so you've identified your client's primary goals. You know what they are. You know why they are in music therapy treatment. And now the job is to find a therapeutic music experience that will support all of your clients at the same time. And it can be done. It's going to change for every client. So client A has one goal, client B has one goal, client C has another goal. If you're lucky, you can coordinate goals, so that way you're working with a motor function group, all lower extremity. If you are not as lucky, if you're like me, you take everybody who's there in the convenience sample that they're given to you. Secondary goals are additional skill development that occurs during every TME. This is not necessarily related to the primary goals, but it's still beneficial to the client. So in addition to their primary goal of client A, who is working on gross motor lower extremity movement coordination, in addition, you know that client A is struggling a little bit with appropriate expression of emotion, is feeling a little bit depressed about this life-changing accident that he or she had. These are not the primary reasons why the client is in music therapy treatment, but it's something that you can definitely support within the music therapy environment. And so again, this is not necessarily related to the primary goals, but it is beneficial to the client. These also change for every client. And so, you know, client A over here, gross motor lower extremity, primary goal, secondary goal, appropriate emotional expression. Client B may have that same secondary goal. It may not be their primary reason for being in music therapy treatment, but it is something that they need to continue to. So the last level of goal area that I have here is tertiary goals. And tertiary goals are those things that are not related to goals, not related to things that clients actually need, but that are the extra things that naturally occur during therapeutic music experiences. And so, you know, this may not be anybody's reason for being in therapy at that very moment, but, you know, a fine motor grasp and release pattern is very important for some clients. It may not be the particular clients that you have in front of you right then, but your clients are still getting a benefit from doing grasp and release when they're playing malleted instruments. And so it's important that you write everything down, because the next client who walks in may be working on specifically fine motor grasp and release patterns. And you've already identified those therapeutic music experiences that will allow you to address that goal. So as you're brainstorming goals, as you're trying to think through this, as you're developing this different perspective, think through the 5 senses. See what kind of goal areas there are available. Think about what you are actually doing during each therapeutic music experience. And so what can you see? What can you hear? What can you feel? What can you taste? What can you touch? Or not taste. Yeah, taste. Smell. That's the last one. Sorry about that. Those 5 senses are very important. If I'm going to give boom whackers to a group of clients, I need to be thinking about what are the benefits that they're getting from the boom whackers. They can see colors. So we can do some academic cognitive things with the colors. They can see the words, the solfege symbols, and they can also see the note names. So we can do some cognitive academic work there. We are working motorically because not only are we doing grasp and release, we are also doing gross motor. We can do movement from the shoulder. We can do movement from the elbow. We can do movement from the wrist. All of those things are motor patterns that I can use when I'm using boom whackers. We can work on hand-eye coordination. I've seen a couple of really interesting music education things with lightsabers where you have to meet your partner's lightsaber, kind of a mirroring exercise. That is hand-eye coordination. It may also involve crossing midline. So I'm going to write all of these things down. In addition, you have the different pitches that you can hear when you play the boom whackers. You can tell when they're being played with a gentle work. You can tell when they're being played with high intensity. You can feel the sound waves. You can feel the strike against different surfaces. As an audience member, you can also feel some of those things. You can feel when people are hitting those boom whackers really hard on the floor next to you. All of those things are possible therapeutic music experiences or benefits from this particular music therapy experience. And so that's where you start to sort in your primary, secondary, and tertiary goals. Once you have brainstormed every possible thing you can think of, then you can start to identify those clients who will most benefit from that therapeutic music experience. And then this way, I can justify why I'm doing a particular therapeutic music experience with a particular group of clients, because I can say to my administrator who comes in and says, oh, why were you doing this? I can say, well, because Johnny has a gross motor upper extremity goal. He needs to lift that arm up and play that boom whacker. And I'm trying to get him to build his endurance. So right now he's doing 7 before he's getting tired. So we're going to do 10 today and see if he can do that without getting tired. But Sally, who's sitting next to him, she's working on color recognition. So Sally's going to be the one who's going to indicate to client A, I forgot his name already, she's going to indicate which color he needs to play. And he's going to play it for that number of times, 7 times, 8 times, 10 times. And we're going to work not only on his left hand, but also on his right hand. And so he can have some success. She's going to be naming colors. Now, client C over here, let's call client C Alex. Alex is working on impulse control, so Alex is going to have to wait until Sally tells him to play. And we're going to see if he's successful. We're going to give him every single tool he can to be successful, but we're going to see if he can control his impulse. And at that point right then, I have demonstrated that I know my clients, that I know their therapeutic goals, and that I can build a therapeutic music experience that provides every single one of them with good therapy. And I can do that with all of the therapeutic music experiences I offer during the session. Because face it, our ultimate end goal is to get the music to work for us every time and to get the most out of our therapeutic music experiences that we possibly can. So let's do that. All right, so for the moment, download the worksheet. When you get it, it will look like this. It is 2 pages at the moment, and probably will be longer by the time you're finished. Okay, so the worksheet itself is to give you a way to organize. Now, unfortunately for you, I'm a visual learner, so having things in charts and tables is very good for me. This is one way for you to think about your session, your domains, your brainstorming, etc. It's not the only way. Feel free to do things the way you feel most comfortable. I start off with musical characteristics, specifically looking at what are the elements of music that are being used during the therapeutic music experience. And writing down as much detail as I possibly can in this is very important. So not just steady beat, but steady beat at approximately 92 beats per minute. Musical characteristics stylistically, rock and roll accompaniment beat, pattern for the accompaniment 1 4 5 7 1 chords, appears to be primarily blues, and the music itself is in an AABA format. Writing down as much detail about the musical characteristics as possible, because that shows you what you can adjust, what you can adapt musically to help your clients and support your clients in getting their goals. Secondly, motor skills. What exactly are the motor skills that are involved with doing this particular therapeutic music experience? Write them all down. Don't worry right now, you're going to get time to fill out this in just a little bit. Cognitive academic skills. What are those things that are happening in the brain for interpretation and for knowledge purposes? Emotional behavioral skills. Are there specific rules that are incorporated in this? Are there specific feelings that need to be expressed during this particular therapeutic music experience? Who knows? Social communication skills. Sometimes that means personal space and impulse control, or maybe it's using names, but there are usually things that are going on. And then, because these are never completely perfect, any kind of other skill areas that you can find as appropriate for the therapeutic music experience. Now, on the next slide, I'm going to show you a therapeutic music experience, and you're going to be encouraged to fill out these 6 categories based on what you see. After that, you are going to take your own therapeutic music experience, something you already know, something that you really enjoy doing with your particular clientele, and you're going to go through the process of delineating those goals and objectives. Now, that'll mean that you're going to have to take a totally fresh new approach to that particular therapeutic music experience and really think about it in order to complete the demonstration element. But you can do it. I have faith. You can do it. So now it's time for us to start putting together all the pieces. And I'm going to show you a therapeutic music experience that I use with a lot of my clients that I call play and pass. And depending on the group, we introduce it a little bit differently for different groups. So if I'm going to be using this with my kids, with my adolescents who have more involvement in their psychiatric diagnoses than they do in their developmental diagnoses, I'm going to have them go through a decision-making process, a decision tree about how many beats we're going to play, how many beats we're going to pass, what type of tempo we want to go to, all those kinds of things. For this purpose, however, we are going to not go through that executive process, and I want you to just see what it is I'm doing with my clientele. Let me scoot things back a little bit so you can see a little bit better. All right, so for this particular therapeutic music experience, I am going to use my trusty metronome. Now, often I use my keyboard, but today I'm going to use the metronome because it's here. It's easier to deal with. And I'm going to set my metronome at a specific speed. Let's see. Ooh, no. 100 beats per minute. And I'm going to start this right in here. Now, I have a variety of instruments. Some shaker eggs, rhythm sticks, shingle tap, something that is not a toy, and then, a kabasa. Now, the way this works with my clients is we all sit in a circle. We start the metronome. We've made our decisions. We're doing what we need to do. We all have an instrument. And we're going to play for a certain number of beats. And then we're going to pass for a certain number of beats. We're always going to pass the same direction. We're always going to receive an instrument from the next person. So, for example, here's what it looks like when my clients are doing it. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And play. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Pass. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Play. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stop. There's the therapeutic music experience. Now, the next time, we are going to do the same thing at a faster tempo. Then we'll do it again at a slower tempo, and we're going to vary our tempo pretty radically during our experimentation process. So, the next slide is going to give you an opportunity to go through and brainstorm everything you can think of, every single possible therapeutic benefit a client can receive from engaging in something like this therapeutic music experience. Take your time. Don't worry about anything. The slide will go on for about 30 seconds, and then after that, make sure you pause it before you go on. So complete your brainstorming on that therapeutic music experience. If you want to see it again, just rewind a little bit and take your time. Use the worksheet, organize your thoughts. I'll sit here for about 30 seconds quietly, and then we'll move the slides forward. So now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to take a therapeutic music experience and to really pull it apart and really think about, what am I doing with my brain? What am I trying to get my clients to do with their brains? What am I trying to get them to do with their bodies? What am I trying to get them to do with their emotions, with their relationships with others during this therapeutic music experience? You're going to take a therapeutic music experience that you know really well and go through it. Go through the process. What is it exactly that the clients are experiencing? Go through that brainstorming process and complete the worksheet. Again, take your time. There is no wrong answer. One of the things that I do ask you to do on your worksheet that's different from the other TME is that I would like to know a description of your therapeutic music experience. Indicate what you are doing with that TME when you're leading it with clients. That just gives me an idea of what your reasons are for using it to begin with, and will give me an idea of what the clients are supposed to be doing while they're engaged. Remember to look at your musical characteristics, your motor skills, your cognitive and academic skills, your emotional and behavioral skills, your social communication skills, and any other skill areas that you're working on. So again, pause this here to complete your brainstorming worksheet on the TME that you have. Use that worksheet. Take your time. You've got plenty of time before the 50 minutes is up. And again, I'll wait here for 30 seconds before moving on. Okay, so some ending considerations, some things to think about. I don't think I put this one on, but one of the things to think about is that there is no wrong answer. It is easy to justify your music therapy interventions when you know all the goal areas that are addressed in each and every TME. And it offers you a good path on how to adapt your musical experience to accommodate client changes and differences, because you understand that this is working on those grasp and release patterns. So if you've got a client who has a fine motor objective of grasping and releasing, you know that this therapeutic music experience can be adapted to accommodate the need for that client. You might need to do that. You might need to do that specific intervention 3 times in order to get them to their goal. And you know that once you understand what's going on with those goal areas. Work during the development stage, as I'm putting together therapeutic music experiences, I start to brainstorm. It really helps me because I can then start to figure out which groups I'm going to try things with. But it never completely stops. I mean, the first time you pull a client into a therapeutic music experience, they do things completely differently than you ever thought you would. And so at that point, I go back and I look at my plan and I flesh it out a little bit more and say, hey, you know what? I never really thought about that crossing midline hand-eye coordination when I'm doing lightsaber boomwhackers with my students. But now I could definitely see kids who struggled with that, and I can see that this is a benefit. Write TMEs that address all client goals simultaneously. If you start with the perspective of these are the clients that I'm going to be working with and here are their goals, you can write and develop brand new therapeutic music experiences that nobody else has ever done that address all those clients' goals very specifically. It takes a lot of creativity. And so there's some more on that in the Writing TMEs to Support Client Goals course module offered here at musictherapyworks.com. Please send your demonstration element worksheet to me at contactus@musictherapyworks.com. And when you do, I will send you not only the link to the course evaluation for this particular course module, but I will also send you my the play and pass brainstorming that I've come up with, and just to see if yours is similar to mine, or if there are things that neither of us considered that made it onto that. It takes me about 24 to 48 hours to respond. So if you send me an email, wait a couple of days before sending it again. Thank you so much for choosing us for your continuing music therapy education needs. When you have finished all of the course modules that you've selected and you've sent me all of the demonstration elements, I will send you a link to the final course evaluation, and I will also send you your certificate. So please keep track of when you send me those things, and I look forward to seeing your therapeutic music experience brainstorming, as well as what you think I'm doing with my therapeutic music experience. Thank you again for choosing us for your continuing music therapy education needs, and I look forward to talking to you later. Bye.